Welcome to Lesson 6 of the Foundations of Language, where we will look more closely at the B3 overall expectation. For overall expectation B3, language conventions for reading and writing, students learn to understand and apply language conventions, syntax and sentence structure, parts of speech, capitalization, and punctuation. In the context of oral communication and writing to communicate meaning, students are continually learning these language conventions and applying their knowledge and skills. They are becoming increasingly fluent readers and writers, which contributes to their comprehension and written expression. Exposure to complex language structures in complex texts during teacher read aloud allows students many opportunities to hear and comprehend orally before they are ever expected to use such language structures in their speaking and writing, which makes this overall expectation one that truly encompasses all of the strands of the language curriculum once more. In the 2023 version of the language curriculum, you will find two very valuable appendix documents. The second of these documents is the Language Conventions Continuum for Reading and Writing Grades 1 to 9, Overall Expectation B3. This Appendix B provides an at-a-glance chart of the mandatory learning that appears under Overall Expectation B3 in Grades 1 to 9. This appendix represents a continuum of skills that students should be working on in writing in the specific grade in which it appears. Students should be exposed to these concepts orally before they are ever expected to use them in their writing. If we look at the legend for this continuum, it demonstrates the continuity of learning across grades and demonstrates that the complexity of these skills warrants recursive instruction over years of a student's academic career. The legend shows us when to introduce a concept for initial development of learning, as well as when consolidation of skills will occur and when to expect refinement of skills and proficient application in various contexts. Now we will begin to look more closely at the specific expectations and the continuum for each, one at a time. The first one being syntax and sentence structure. What is important for us to remember as we move into this new curriculum is that the knowledge and skills included are based in research. Consider this quote from Tim Shanahan. Studies over the years have shown a clear relationship between syntactic or grammatical sophistication and reading comprehension. That is, as students learn to employ more complex sentences in their oral and written language, their ability to make sense of what they read increases too. The first specific expectation is syntax and sentence structure. In the appendix, you will see that the complexity of sentence structure increases over time. The appendix gives us the terminology to name the specific knowledge and skills, as well as examples of sentences with the structure. This continuum begins with simple sentence types and ends with complex sentences with different types of clauses. When we consider why the emphasis on sentence-level syntax and structure, this excerpt from the writing rope comes to mind. Sentences and paragraphs are the building blocks of writing. Composing each sentence, the writer combines ideas to make meaning. The writer then groups sentences related to the same main idea into paragraphs, and then groups paragraphs to build a longer, cohesive text. Buildings and writing will fall apart if the foundation is shoddy. Good writers build their text from strong sentences. Teachers can use this metaphor to help students recognize the importance of attending to quality sentence writing as a foundation of their writing. The next specific expectation is grammar. Grammar in the Ontario Language Curriculum 2023 refers specifically to the teaching of the parts of speech. In the appendix above, you will see a portion of the continuum of the parts of speech students will need to learn. It is extremely important to consider the findings from research that show that Decontextualized teaching of abstract rules of grammar is largely ineffective for improving students' sentence writing skills, particularly in children who struggle with reading and writing. So what does this mean? Embedding grammar and syntax lessons within the context of content learning or in relation to topics of study and while engaging in meaningful reading and writing activities will be more effective than simply having students define terms and label parts of sentences. The third and final specific expectation is capitalization and punctuation. Capitalization and punctuation conventions help to make an author's message clear. It helps the reader make meaning from text and directly impacts reading prosody and the intonation the reader uses to help convey meaning. The continuum document pictured here shows when students would be expected to begin using the conventions in their written work. Experience with these conventions will have already been explored through students' exposure to reading tasks during read-alouds, shared reading, and small group reading experiences. Thank you for joining me for Lesson 6 of the Foundations of Language.